Hello and welcome to the Sports Card Strategy Show, brought to you by NoOffSeason.com, where you can get unlimited personalized advice from our experts to help you build your sports card investment portfolio. Sign up for a free 30-day trial today at NoOffSeason.com. Today's show is sponsored by Graybo Sports Cards, a local hobby shop owned by Gray Burnett, Brian Fitz, and Duke Denny One-Time Dotson. Graybo's is located in the Arts District of Richmond, Virginia. Graybo's sports the best selection of raw and graded singles in the Mid-Atlantic and a wide variety of wax. Listeners of the Sports Card Strategy Show can receive a 10% discount on any purchase at graybos.co by entering the promo code STRATEGY2023. Graybo's now breaks on Whatnot and or Drip 5 nights a week, including baseball, basketball, football, and even wrestling breaks. Use the link in our Instagram bio for a $15 credit after your first purchase on Drip. You can follow all of Graybo's news updates on Instagram at Graybos_cards. Don't forget to get your sell alerts by texting Sports Cards to 1-833-992-5727 to crystallize your profits at the right time. Also, don't forget all the data we use on the Sports Card Strategy Show is from MarketMoversApp.com. Save 20% by using the promo code NOOFFSEASON after a free 14-day trial. Okay, and the strategy you have all been waiting for, your hosts, Paul Hickey, Lefty McKee, and the Doc, also known as Dr. Crack, Mr. Chad Guell. Take it away, guys.
Yes, we are everywhere.
Let's go, Sonia.
We are everywhere, and we've got Sonia on the intro. How great was that? Everywhere you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, everywhere else, hit us up on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy. If you're not able to be on the live stream now, we are streaming live on YouTube and a couple other places. So check us out on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Paul Hickey. If you missed the live chat, leave a comment below. We will reply. But everybody, we're going to go around the horn real quick and say hello to everybody in the live chat. Give some live chat love up in here. So first up, let's say hello to Chad Guell in the live chat. Rocky Empire Sports Cards, Southern Soccer Idiot, Janelle Shue, Craig's Cards 11, Evan Bell, Brian Steeler 714, Oh My Shoes, The Duder, Shane Graham. Good morning and happy Monday to you. Card Vibe in the house. That's a new name. Love it. Love the Card Vibe. And guess what, everyone? Dr. Crack's light just went off. There's one. Gosh, it's great to be here. Kendall, Lefty McKee, Dr. Crack, Chad Guell, and our very special guest today, because it's all of the preseason football games that don't matter are over. So we've got the one, the only Andy Kaysen from FootballCardQuest joining us today on the show. Andy, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. It's nice to actually make the show for once. And I was virtually on time today, man. I am excited to talk football cards and chop it up with you guys and talk shop. Also getting ready for a little hurricane, but all is good, man. Focused on football cards right now, baby.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you're feeling better. I know coming out of the National, you weren't feeling so hot. So no worries on, coming in today. We got a lot of great football card stuff to talk about. A lot of great football card strategy. Greeny Green in the house. Welcome back, Greeny Green. Lefty, we haven't seen Greeny Green in a while.
It's been a while, brother. Greeny Green. Welcome back, son.
Welcome back. All right. We're going to get right into it, guys. We got a lot to talk about today. So let's get into L of the Week. L of the Week. I'm going to go first because I had somebody DM me. Eric on Instagram. So Eric, thanks for the DM. He says, thoughts on Skylar Thompson, second or third string QB for the Dolphins. Prices are going up. Is it too pricey to buy in now on a hope Tua goes down? I said, you know what, Eric, I'm going to answer this on the Sports Card Strategy Show on Monday. I decided to make it my L of the Week. Here's why. I think stuff like this is a complete L. So to get in on Skylar Thompson, I think you'd have to buy a bigger one of his cards to have any kind of upside to make any kind of money. And Andy, I'm going to turn it over to you because Skylar Thompson, I mean, are we spending money on Skylar Thompson? To me, I think this kind of a play is an L because you're kind of hoping for a Tua injury. Then you've got to have something go right with Skylar Thompson for it even to pay off for you. But am I wrong on this? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he's the guy you want there. I think you want Mike White. If you're going to do like a backup handcuff play to Tua, ultimately, I would just go for Tua. I mean, I think a lot of people are just assuming he's going to get another concussion and like his career is going to be over. But I think the chances of that happening are pretty low. And honestly, I mean, his upside is massive. I mean, now he's trading at a discount compared to Jordan Love and so much lower than the other, premium 2020 quarterbacks. I just go straight to Tua and then Mike White. Skylar Thompson got playing time last year. He's a 7th round draft pick. He's nothing special. He's absolutely average. And I don't think he's going to drive any type of FOMO or hype spike. And so, yeah, the card would have to be incredibly rare and the entry price point would have to be at a discount. So ultimately I would just fade that.
Yeah, man, I'm with you on that. And I think I don't fault Eric for his kind of thought process there. I think it's the right kind of thought process, but I do think that if you pull trigger on plays like that, you will set yourself up for an L. So that's why it's my L of the week. Those kinds of plays are my L of the week because I think you're just hoping for something that is way too far-fetched. Too many things have to fall in place to make money on something like that. And you might be able to get Skylar Thompson cheaper than Mike White and definitely a lot cheaper than Tua. But I am right there with you, Andy, on that being an L. So
yeah, he's the official third. He's the official third man on the depth chart. I saw the comment there. So yeah. He is officially third on the depth chart.
Yeah, good stuff. Brian Steeler 714 coming into the comments and saying, wait a minute. Mike White, did he lose his depth chart spot to Skylar Thompson? No. Andy says no, he did not. Skylar Thompson number 3, Mike White number 2, and we hope Tua stays healthy and has a good season this year. I just like to see everybody stay healthy. So if you have an L of the week and you're in the live chat, put it in there now because Connor's going to get you in here. And again, if you're dropping questions in the live chat, we're going to get you at the end of the show. So, Andy, while we're talking to you, do you have an L that you would like to share with us here at the top of the show? L of the week.
Yeah, my L of the week is Trey Lance. And it's a specific, well, it's a lot of Trey Lance cards because he's just traded to the Dallas Cowboys. But I mean, this is backup purgatory for Trey Lance here, unless something happens to Dak Prescott and Cooper Rush. I don't even think Trey Lance is going to be their backup because Cooper Rush played very well last year while Dak Prescott was injured. So I think this is backup purgatory, clipboard holder type of career for Trey Lance. I am trying to get out even at a little bit of a loss, but the cards that I bought in at were like $50 optic holos and $50 silver prism raw. Those are $20 cards today. And with the amount of supply that they printed for early first-round draft picks out of 2021 in those just, base short print parallels, not even short print, just more uncommon than the normal base, I'm going to have to sell that card for like $20. So that's definitely an L.
That's an L for sure. Lefty, what do you got, man?
Man, I got an L of the week, and it is Shohei Ohtani, the news. I mean, it's just like it's breaking my heart again and again and again. Like this guy, tearing his UCL only 4 years after his reconstruction surgery. It's likely to see that these surgeries are happening about 7 years. So it looks like our arms, even after reconstruction, are taking about a 7-year length of time after a UCL surgery, and Shohei goes under the knife again probably this offseason, especially when he was going to earn between $400 and $600 million somewhere for a dual purpose athlete that is elite in both sections, and now he is going to be a hitter essentially that potentially could come back and pitch. It's just Shohei is still electric. If you look at his market movers, some of his lower stuff is down. So I would say now is a time to buy Ohtani if you're finding good deals on him, especially pitching cards. He has pitching cards and hitting cards. I think there's a play to be made on some of his pitching cards because some of them are down 20-30%. Not the autos, but the rookie chromes and things like that. You're gonna have to be strategic. But the L of the week is Shohei going down, which is not an L of the week, I guess, because the Angels will be out of the playoffs. Because that's good for me as a Rangers fan. So,
all right. Well, there's always a silver lining, but yeah, that's a good analysis on Shohei. Thanks for that. I have noticed there's a lot of Shohei cards listed. I mean, there's no shortage of Shohei cards listed. And honestly, that probably isn't that different than it's been all summer, because I think like his prices have been going up, and it's always a good time to list players when they're on fire and their prices are going up. So, Lefty says could be a good time to buy. I don't disagree, my friend. I like it. So good stuff. Over to the Dr. Crack, Chad Guell, for his L of the week. What do you got, Doc?
Well, my L of the week was I was on vacation last week, and although it was a great time with the kids, I got completely out of sync with cards and life in general. It was nice to just kind of have a laid back week, and my goal was to never miss a show and tell video submission. And Thursday morning, the show comes on and I'm like, oh crap, it's Thursday morning. So I missed the show and tell for the first time ever last week. So that was my L of the week. The other L is after Lefty brought up the Shohei Ohtani news. What about Mike Trout? I mean, Lefty and I have Mike Trout in our fantasy league, and we spent some money on that dude. And I think he's played a week since we re-upped in his contract in that fantasy league. That whole organization, the Angels organization, is an L of the week for me.
L of the century.
How is your fantasy team doing? And shout out to Rob Masora from Bob's Card Market. We haven't mentioned, actually, that's another L. That's my L. We haven't mentioned bobscardmarket.com on this show in a long time. And it's a great Discord channel. If you haven't checked out bobscardmarket.com, go check it out. But Lefty, how are you guys doing in that league? I have no idea how I'm doing, by the way.
You're going to have to check in with Chad. I know that he's been picking up and dropping players, but I am the Mr. Moneybags GM, and Chad is my head coach. So
we just won all three this week, so we are at 13-14 for a record. We're like in the middle of the pack in our division, so we're doing better than the team did in the previous session. It's just a really weird setup for a fantasy league, but we're getting the hang of it.
That's awesome. I've got one of my buddies from college as my co-owner because I cannot keep up with that. And I haven't even checked in with him. It was like, I'm going to get him involved so that I can keep in touch with him because I don't have time to stay on top of the league. But now I've done a horrible job, another L, even keeping in touch with my buddy from college on how we're doing. So big apologies to Rob Masora on this fantasy baseball league that we joined. But and Chad's going to try to give us an update. All right, so Connor Barnett, our head of
Lefty.
content.
We beat Paul, just for the record. That's what I was holding up, just to show everybody we did beat Paul this week.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, congratulations, guys. That's a literal L for me, so good work. Connor Barnett in the house, our head of content at nooffseason.com. Connor's going to take us around the horn here with some audience L's of the week. Connor, what do we got, man?
Good morning, everyone. How we doing?
Doing great, man. Thank you.
Looks like Oh My Shoes is upset this morning. He's got to go into work. But I'd imagine this is probably the best way he could start his day before heading into there. Not a whole lot of L's otherwise, which is probably good for the audience. We do W's. We transition into our W's of the week. Looks like Greeny Green was able to pick up a George Pickens pink Velocity Optic out of 79, just $13. What do you guys have for your W's of the week, fellas?
Good work, Greeny Green. Actually, thanks, Connor. Good work, man. Before we get into our W's, Andy, what do you think about Greeny Green's pickup here of George Pickens?
Yeah, the Steelers are so hyped right now. They've been looking fantastic. Kenny Pickett, all 5 drives that he's led in the preseason, he scored a touchdown. Pickens has been a critical component. But the one thing I don't like about Pickens is he's not a great separator. The guy can go up and win 50-50 balls all day, but he's not as good of a route runner and a separator against man coverage and press coverage as a guy like Deontay Johnson on his team. So it'll be interesting to see what type of volume Pickens gets this year. So I love selling him right now because he is so hyped up along with a lot of the other Steelers players.
Hey, Connor, we got one that came in from Ryan Borusky. Shout out to Mr. Ryan Borusky, who's taken the Mr. off of his YouTube profile. Good to see you, Ryan. We gave you a lot of love on the Sports Card Strategy Show and Tell on Thursday, just in case you missed it. Borusky, go back and watch it, man. He says, L, got back a Tua optic from PSA, cracked an SGC 10. The card looked perfect. Sent it and got it back at a PSA 9. Interesting part is that at the bottom edge looked jacked up a bit. Very curious. Okay, we know that the Dr. Crack Chad Guell has done this before, and I know that he takes pictures of his cards before he sends them into PSA. So, Borusky, curious as to whether or not you did this. Chad, what do you think about Borusky's L here?
I hope he took a real good scan of it, and if it is jacked up, send it back in, and they will make it right. They've done it before.
Okay, there you go. Borusky, if you need help, let us know. We can try to help you out. But I think you've got Chad on speed dial, so you might not need to go through me on that. We'll see. All right, Connor, do we have anything else from the audience on L's or W's of the week? We can do both here before we segue into our W's. Actually, I did just see who's that? Craig's Cards 11. Our guy Craig's Cards 11 has an L. He's with Andy on Trey Lance. Bought a bigger rookie peacock choice of his 2 days before he got injured last year. Andy, what the hell is a peacock choice? Never heard of that before.
It's from Mosaic. And it's one of their inserts that they added. I think they added that in 2021. I mean, I think they added that along with the honeycomb. So it just looks like instead of a little honeycomb in the background, it looks like a little peacock feather, like the little heart of a peacock feather.
Nice. Hey, Connor, we're going to see you again in a couple minutes, brother. We're going to get into our W's of the week, but let us know if anything else pops into the live chat, all right?
Sounds good, fellas.
Good work, man. All right, so here we go. Let's get into our W's of the week. So here's what I got. I think this is actually pretty cool. I think this is good for the hobby. This is a hobby W, in my opinion. Curious to see what you guys think and if you agree or disagree with me, but I mention often that I don't typically spend too much time consuming other people's content in the hobby, although I am, plugged in enough. So I did see a post from Tops on Twitter that caught my eye, and I went ahead and dug a little bit deeper into it. And what it is it's this out of 99 green redemption out of 2022 Bowman U Chrome, and it's the green parallel auto redemption out of 99 for none other than Victor Wembanyama. And so it was a little bit confusing, but I figured out what was going on here. Basically, there's 99 of these redemptions in theory floating out there. And there was this photo of one of them that said, my first card ever signed, right? We've probably all seen that photo. And we're wondering what the hell's going on with that. It's green out of 99, first card ever signed. So it looks like what Topps is doing is if you have this redemption, you can become part of a contest to win the card that is the first ever signed card inscribed by Wembanyama as your redemption. Now, this is Fanatics. This is Topps. This is great, in my opinion. This is a W for the hobby because this is something that is, we're all familiar with the redemption. We're all familiar with the out of 99. This is making something like the out of 99 potentially more valuable, and it's engaging more people. And to me, it's a very, very simple way. Nobody had to do anything else. No athlete had to do anything spectacular to make this happen. As much as I love the Topps MLB debut thing where they wore the patches on the jerseys, this is much simpler than that. And I really, really like it. Lefty, what do you think?
I think simplifying anything is good for the hobby. We get so far into nuances, like we just talked about some random Mosaic, Peacock, Yeehaw, it's just, I particularly love Bowman firsts because there's color parallels and there's a little bit of extra stuff, but the simplification is what the hobby needs, in my opinion. So.
Yep. All right. Well, Chad, what do you think? Is this something that caught your eye at all?
It is. I actually did a little research on it. I thought that was something very ingenuitive by Topps and Fanatics. I don't know if you saw the part where if you redeem before, I think it's September 7th or September 11th, something like, I think it's September 7th. They will fly you. They'll give you $400 airfare to fly you out to San Antonio, where it's rumored that Wemby is going to be there and personally hand you the card. It's going to be this great big gala that Fanatics is going to put on. I think it's super cool for the hobby. I mean, this is where Fanatics is going. They're going for these unique experiences. And I know a lot of people were disappointed when it came out because they thought that they had a chance at pulling that card out of a pack. And then it turned out to be redemption autos, which was kind of like wah wah wah, and those slowed down. So this is very smart by Fanatics, because by announcing this now, you're going to see a whole bunch of people buying those boxes and ripping them, trying to find that redemption between now and early September. Rumor has it only half of the 99 cards have been ripped so far, so there's a lot of them. There's still 50 of them floating around out there. I think it's very cool.
Ryan Boreski cracking jokes in the live chat about where they'll fly you, and if you can make it back from that location, they might give you the card. Okay, back over to you, Lefty, for your W of the week, man. What do you got for your W of the week?
So my W of the week is I have been low-key obsessed with bringing in a certain type of card this week. I have talked to Paul, and I've been looking at deals, and I've been thinking about the future of a particular sport. And as you guys know, as I just talked about, I'm into baseball and I'm into soccer and I'm into F1. Well, one of my coworkers that I work closely with is a tennis just super fan. And so I've been watching tennis with him, just kind of being able to know what we're talking about. And then I just got just really into these Alcaraz cards when we talked about him previously. And then I watched him play in the Cincinnati, the Masters 1000. And so anyway, I ended up picking up a fresh, I can't think of the word, but a fresh section of tennis cards from lately. So here we go. I have 3 of these out of 500s that are Carlos Alcaraz cards. I think they are beautiful. 2 of them actually look pristine. And so some of these PSA 10s are listed for in the 4-figure range. I was able to get into these at $250 a piece. So pretty cool. I'm looking forward to the US Open this week. And kind of a different thing for me. Don't know a whole lot about tennis. I've been looking a lot into it lately. But I think there's margin for him and Jannik Sinner. So I'm investing in both of those guys recently. So
only 497 more of those cards to go before you own the entire market, the monopoly on that particular card, Lefty. Tell us about Jannik Sinner. Who's Jannik Sinner? I have no idea who that is.
So Jannik Sinner is I had my friend break it down for me. I said, okay, the 3 guys are leaving. We've got, the 3 big goats leaving the sport pretty soon, with Joker being one of the last ones to leave. And then we've got, this young crop of new dudes coming in. So he gave me every breakdown of basically his top 10 of investment strategies. And Jannik Sinner is a guy that he believes is going to be another guy up there with Carlos as a really, really good perennial tennis player. Chad, number 2, by the way. And so I was able to get into 2 Jannik Sinner out of 100 cards from U.S. Open tennis cards earlier this month for about $100 a piece. So I'm paying about $250 for Carlos cards. Yannick has, a $100 price tag. And then Ben Shelton is another guy I'm looking out for. I was able to get his rookie card for $15. So interesting price differentials. So.
Are these all Net Pro cards, by the way, for the center and the Ben Shelton? Are they all Net Pro, or are they different?
They are not. That's the thing I'm finding out is there's just few cards in the tennis arena, which is why I'm interested in investing in it, because there's not a whole lot of cards in it. So once mine hits the market, all it takes is one person to search it. So that's probably a risky move, but I'm willing to risk, a couple dollars in this avenue. So
maybe Sports Illustrated Kids has some tennis cards coming out. You never know.
We'll see.
All right, before we get over to Chad and Andy's W of the week, this one's from Card Vibe. It's an L of the week. Bought a Lamar Flawless RPA a couple weeks ago for $1K, sold for $1.45K, and then the same card out of 25 sold for $22.50 this week. Card Vibe making some big plays, got a little bit of profit, but yeah, that's a bit of an L. Andy, what do you think about the early flip on Lamar? That's an early flip right there. But we do say you sell football cards in August. But what's your take on that, man?
I mean, you like selling on the way up, so technically you took a W, but you left some meat on the bone there. And the hype is heating up for Lamar. Actually, that's one of my W's of the week, but it's Zay Flowers. And actually, my overall W of the week are these 2023 Rookie Premier Holos. I had a Zay Flowers I bought for $27 at the end of July, sold it for $100 just this past week. I did this. I bought a Bijan Robinson for $50, sold that for $135. Bought a Jordan Addison for $17, sold that for $60. So those cards have gone up a lot in value for pretty much every player that is in that set from the Rookie Premier event out in LA earlier this summer. And I'm not sure, there's a lot of rookie hype, and these cards are very rare. The print run on them is very low. So, getting in on them early presented a massive opportunity to flip. And Zay Flowers, he's a prime candidate with Lamar, that new Ted Monken offense. I mean, they're going to be lights out of the gate. And they get the Texans at home week 1. So there is a lot of hype building for the new Baltimore Ravens offense here.
Love that. These are the Rookie Premier Holo cards that you showed me at the National, right? You were scooping them up at the National. Not literally.
No, I couldn't find a single one at the National. But yes, I was talking about them a lot. So I was buying them. Yeah, I was buying them on eBay heading up to the National. They're a very thick chrome finish card that have a holo finish pro uniform rated rookie logo from Panini, which, could change. I'm not sure if we'll talk about that at all later in the stream, but these cards are all in very good condition. And the print run, from talking to a few of the dealers on eBay, I only got one response from a guy, but he sent me a book of a response and basically said the dealers that got invited to the NFLPA Rookie Premier event co-hosted with Panini earlier in the summer got a set of these. And so the print run, he estimates anywhere between 250 to 500. But I'll tell you, if you go on eBay right now and search these, they're very rare. And I've tracked them every day since they came out. And there's never been more than a handful, like 4 or maybe 5 for any of the players available on eBay at one time.
Yeah, and they were a win when you were showing them. So yeah, just to clarify, Andy, at our audience meet and greet at the National that Graybo's put together for us, Andy was like, you got to check this out. He showed me his phone, his eBay account, and he was scooping these up on eBay during the National, not literally at the show. But Andy, not only were they a win then, but now I believe with Panini and Fanatics and the NFLPA and the whole licensing drama, you could be in a situation where now if you're holding these Rookie Premier Holos, now they're even more valuable because who knows what Panini cards we will see from this year's rookie class, right?
Yeah, I'm afraid to list them because I literally raised my prices the day that the news dropped about the cease and desist from NFLPA. I was like, my initial take is, well, these cards may go up. So I went on and raised my Bijan from 100 to 150. Ended up selling it for 135 because I like to remind myself, like, look, Bijan could play tonight in the preseason, get hurt. It's something something happened, or just, that's such good profit. Like, why not take it, right? You're sitting on like 150% markup. Well, actually, I was 250% markup. So I was looking at a crazy profit margin. So I was like, yeah, let's just go ahead and take these. Somebody else wants to pay the premium to get in them at this point. That's fine. That's my whole goal, is to be constantly moving in a product and recycling and reinvesting. So it's wild, man. But I'm afraid this is my last one. I got one Jordan Addison left, and I'm afraid to list it.
Rocky Empire Sports Cards and Blake Knower in the live chat. Love your W of the week, Andy. So do I. One more thing I want to throw out there on this topic before we go over to Chad's W is I even opened up my base cards in that national VIP pack that had, they're not the holo version, but they're similar to the design of the card that you held up. But everybody who was a VIP at the national probably had the same pack. They opened with Bryce Young in the Panthers uniform, and then there was Stroud, and then there was Bijan and an Anthony Richardson and a Jackson Smith and Jigba. I took all of those out of that pack and submitted them to SGC when I heard the news, because I want that 5 to 10 day turnaround from SGC to see if I can get those listed. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's a great strategy. I've heard about the quick turnaround times from SGC. Man, if you get some 10s on those, oh man, it's going to be really nice.
I'll list them. They're just base cards. And so, with people that are concerned that there might not be too many licensed rookies of those players, could be a future win. Stay tuned for that. But Chad, over to you for your W of the week, man. What do you got?
All right. Well, my W was Dalvin Cook. About a month or so ago, on one of the sections, I said Dalvin Cook was a buy. He finally signed with the Jets, which I think is a huge win for Cook and the Jets. His cards, since I recommended buying them, are up 20 to 30% across the board. I bought an optic base PSA 10 for $22, flipped it for $45, and I bought a silver Prism PSA 10 for $25, flipped it for $60, and I sold them both at a local card show, so I did not pay any fees, which was a double win. So ended up I netted $58 from a $47 investment, so doubled my money. Those are the types of plays that I love. It's not a real big dollar amount, but anytime you can double your money and you can get in and get out in 4 weeks, that's a beautiful thing.
Chad, I've started to give you crap on this show low key for like buying so many cards and spreading yourself too thin, but I got to give you props, man. You're doing it, but you're getting the wins off of it. So you obviously know what you're doing. The doc coming in strong with this W of the week. And I see some stuff. Get ready, Connor. I see some W's in the live chat, man. We got to bring you in to let us know what the audience W's are, man. What do we got?
Yeah, boys, looks like Craig's Cards was able to 4X his investment on Jackson Holiday. I know you guys talked about him a little bit last week. Lefty, how are you feeling about getting rid of Holiday now to kind of realize the profits and trying to reinvest into other prospects?
No way am I selling Jackson Holiday right now. I know he's got like a 20% bump right now, but I am going to sell Jackson. I'm not going to miss out again. So I sold Ellie De La Cruz faster than everyone else because I was like, hey, man, I wasn't as confident in me as you guys were in me. And so when I had Ozzy come up to me at the National, he's like, Lefty, you've helped me make just a shit ton of money. I was like, man, I need to be listening to myself more often. And I am going to plant my flag on Jackson Holiday, and I'm just going to ride this dude all the way in. And I've got one okay, so let me just be fair. Can I elaborate here for a second, Paul? Is that okay?
Oh, absolutely. Go for it.
So we talked earlier about how my L of the week was making a rookie mistake, and I bought a Jackson Holiday Chrome Auto, but not his first. Okay, you guys remember that?
I remember. Chad hasn't let me forget that.
I know. Chad hasn't let me forget that. And so what I did actually was I was like, okay, I'm way over my head in this card. And so what I want to do is I want to move into a card with high margins. So I ended up trading that card for this card. Actually, it is an out of 150 Roman Anthony, a Bowman Chrome auto. Love it. I'm really excited about it. But I'm going forward with Jackson Holiday and with Roman Anthony, and I've diversified into Roman Anthony, Jackson Churio, and Jackson Holiday. Those are my 3 guys going into the offseason that I'm scooping.
I think he redeemed himself. Connor, what else do we have for audience W's?
Looks like Oh My Shoes chimes in. Junior Shoes was able to pick up a 2012 NBA Hoops Damian Lillard PSA 10. Happy birthday, Junior Shoes. Chad, how are you feeling about Damian Lillard for the long term? It looks like trade talks are starting to pick up a little bit. But where are you standing on Damian Lillard?
I am high on Damian Lillard. I don't think he plays for Portland this year, and wherever he goes, he's trying like heck to force his way to Miami. If he gets his way and he goes to Miami, you're going to see a sharp spike in his card prices. If he stays in Portland with Scoot and some of the, Anthony Simons, they kept Jerami Grant. I think you could see a nice increase in his cards either way. I am high on Damian Lillard.
All right, I'm going to chime in here and give a shout out to Craig's Cards 11 because on the Jackson Holiday, that's a huge card. But like, I don't know if you guys saw the Sports Card Strategy Show and Tell on Thursday, and I've seen Craig's Cards 11's cards in person at the National. That holiday card, while massive, might be one of his lower dollar cards. The dude just has a ridiculous amount of high dollar cards, and he's constantly submitting them to PSA and making plays. So anyway, shout out to Craig's Cards 11. And looks like we got a couple other W's of the week here, Connor, that I'm going to take. Borowski says there's a profound level of intelligence, experience, and nuance amongst the crew on this show. It's really amazing. I wish I had as good of a handle on my day job as you guys do on card flipping. You know, I got to get, it's really not me. It's like Andy Kaysen coming in, Chad, Lefty. I mean, but thanks, Borowski. Also, Del Duncan 4. That's a new name. Haven't seen Del Duncan 4 in the live chat. We love to see new names and returning names in the live chat, of course. Connor, do we have anything else?
Looks like that is going to wrap it up for this week's W's.
Good work, my man. Keep it coming in the comments, though, guys. If you have W's, if you have L's, if you have buys and sells or questions, get them in the live chat. If you're not watching live, then send them in on Instagram. If you're listening at Sports Card Strategy, DM us. Or drop a comment below if you're watching on YouTube on the channel, youtube.com/Paul Hickey. All right, let's go to who to buy. So let's bring Andy Kaysen back into the stream. And Andy, let's get your buys first, man. I'm curious to see who you're buying.
Yeah, there's actually quite a few players I'm buying. I like to take an approach where I kind of see what the market has to offer me. So a lot of the searches I'm doing right now are for sets or even a whole entire draft class. So, you know, I am buying Tua. I'm buying the undervalue on Tua and that Miami offense. There's a couple skill position players I think are very interesting. The Commanders play week 1 at home against the Arizona Cardinals. This is a great matchup. They have a weak defense and they have new coaching across the board. And it looks like Colt McCoy is probably going to start. And the Commanders have a weak defensive secondary. They have a strong line, but a weak defensive secondary. And Sam Howell's looked great. He's the locked-in starter. Terry McLaurin is dealing with a turf toe. This is probably going to hold him out. Jahon Dotson is a second-year receiver that was drafted in the first round last year from Penn State, a guy that put up a ton of production in his junior and senior year at Penn State. And he had a good touchdown efficiency last year. He had 7 touchdowns and actually got targeted quite a bit. He showed great hands. According to Reception Perception, which charts the success rate for all NFL wide receivers for every route that they run, they study every single route that they run on film. Jahon Dotson actually had pretty elite separation statistics from last year. So this guy gets open. He's going to demand targets if he's on the field. So I like him going off week 1 with Sam Howell. I think you could see Sam Howell's values go up a little bit. Jahon Dotson's go up a lot from how cheap they are right now.
Wow, the in-season flippability, like a fantasy football owner, Andy Kaysen. Like this is why you're so knowledgeable and bring so much value to the show, is this in-season week by week plays that you're making. So a couple questions for you. I mean, on these cards that you're looking to pick up and then potentially flip right away, there's obviously no time for grading, right? So what kinds of cards are you buying in particular to try to maximize your profit for these in-season flips?
Yeah, so something like this would be a perfect example. It's Optic Contenders Silver Rookie Ticket Auto with the on-card auto here from Jahon Dotson. So this card has the quality and the scarcity to for more high-end collectors, investors to potentially buy it, stash it, maybe grade it, hold it long-term in their collection. And this is a card you could potentially snipe in auction because he's a second-year player. I think there's somewhat of an illusion, I guess, if you will, or a temporary illusion that the supply is way exceeding the demand on eBay, which is true, but long-term, that's going to change. I mean, go look at 2020 cards available for guys that continue to ascend in their careers. So that's something that I'm targeting for like around that $30 range that I'm looking to flip for closer to 100 after Jahon Dotson breaks out. I want to have that listed, ready to go. And I've seen it so many times, that it's been proven to work. And list it in that $60 to $70 range, and an impulse buyer on Sunday when the Commanders are melting faces with Sam Howell and Jahon Dotson, somebody will grab that up.
So are you ever in a situation where like you're buying a card and then you're waiting for it to get to you, and in the meantime you're listing it using the same photos of that card?
I never do that, but I do know some guys that do. I like to take my own photos because I'll take that raw card, put it in a one touch. That'll be my cover photo. I also use very good side lighting because photos are so important when you're selling cards. It's like literally probably the most important thing, I think. And then if you have any major flaws, right, description and title. But eBay's algorithm and eBay's search engine is like a social media platform. I mean, you could just type in, roughly what you're looking for, and they're gonna get you to what you're trying to find, and your card will be there. So photos are so important. So I'll take a picture of the one touch and then raw, and it makes it look good, man. Get that premium dollar.
Yeah, you made me think of friend of the show, Lonnie Conley, who does a great job. And he did a great show and tell a few weeks back on the channel about having a light box. And I think we might have even put a link to the light box at nooffseason.com. Go to nooffseason.com, check out supplies, the supplies drop down menu on the website, and click. I think we've got Lonnie Conley's light box on there. So Andy made me think of that. That's a great call. Chad, what are your thoughts on the in-season flipping of football cards? And then obviously how you would list them if you're doing that. And also, who are you buying?
I love the in-season flip. As I talked about with the Delvin Cook play, I love flipping where I can get in and get out in less than 30 days. That is quick in, quick out. That's how you make money. When you hold on to something for an extended period of time, there are a lot of variables. The economy, injuries, just so many things that can happen. I do a lot of long-term holds as well, but my absolute favorite are the short-term flips. So get your pencils handy because here comes some that you are not going to want to miss.
Let's go.
I am going to give you a couple of options here. Most people right now are going to be afraid to buy a Trevor Lawrence or a Jalen Hurts card because they're up all the way across the board, right? There aren't any cards to be had. You can't buy Hurts. You can't buy Lawrence. It's too close to the season. You just can't do it. Wrong. I love to take a look at cards when a certain player starts spiking, there are always pockets of cards that go up at a slower rate than all the other cards. Sure, they might not be as desirable as the rookie ticket autos and the silver prisms, but the high tide raises all the boats, okay? So they will catch up. And I love catching things that haven't gone up yet. And here's a couple of examples. So in the last 60 days, these are market movers last 60 days. So Jalen Hurts Phoenix Fireburst is a very cool looking card. It's down 32% in the last 60 days. The last sale was $86. His Don Russ rated rookie down 7% in the last 60 days, $70. His Optic Blue Hyper down 15%, last sale of $199. You can buy any one of these 3 cards, and within the next 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to flip it and make 20 to 30%, because that's what he's up. He's up 20 to 30% in the last 60 days. But these cards have pockets where they're down. Doesn't make any sense, but they are. Trevor Lawrence, Optic PSA 10, down 12%, last sale $130. Mosaic Silver Photo Variation, down 20%, last sale $194. These are Trevor Lawrence. Select Course Die Cut Red, White, and Blue, down 22%, last sale $118. Mosaic Reactive Blue. I love this card because it's a color match with Trevor Lawrence. Absolutely love. This is a stunning card. I have this card. In a PSA 10, down 16%, last sale $143. Mosaic Reactive Yellow, down 31% in the last 60 days, all the way down to $139. Mosaic Green, down 31%, last sale $113. Select Premier Tricolor, numbered to 199, Pop 48, down 28%, last sale $325. Go out and buy these cards. As the season goes on, they're going to go up with the rest of their cards.
This is a great strategy, right, Lefty? I mean, he's basically going into players that are rising, and then he's going into market movers. Use the promo code NOOFFSEASON, by the way, save 20%, marketmoversapp.com. And he's going into market movers, and he's just finding the cards that are down, but that are still desirable. Lefty, talk about it.
I was got my little pencil scratch out, and I'm just like, okay, Trevor Lawrence. I'm like going fast. I'm abbreviating. I got Mosaic, Reactor, Blue, Yellow, Green, Purple, 700, and Phoenix, and Yeehaw. And so I'm just trying to do my best here because I believe in both of these quarterbacks. I actually, in the offseason, invested in both of them. I still have my Jalen Hurts auto, but I sold my my rookie ticket at the National for Trevor Lawrence, and I'm looking to buy back into Trevor Lawrence because I believe his weapons are elite. You know, I don't know as much about football as Andy does, but what I do know is that Sunshine is gonna ball down there in Jacksonville, and all year last year, I was like, we need to be buying into Trevor Lawrence because this dude is still a dog. Urban Meyer is done and gone, and this dude is electric. And then I sold him for I had a card that was basically chewed by a dog, and I sold it for 200 more. $200
this
more.
Is the one that eBay authenticated for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I bought it for 400, sold it for 650 at the National, which was half of the price of what it should have been going for because literally a dog chewed on it, and I still made $200.
But to Lefty's credit, he did tell the guy, listen, this card is not going to gem.
Yeah. He pulled it out and he's like, "Ooh, this one's rough." And I was like, "That's why it's listed at 650, my dog. Like, you can go to the next booth and get a premium one for 1500."
Lefty sold it in person. He was too scared to sell it on eBay because he knew that the dog slobber would make somebody return it to him.
Yeah.
Who are you buying, Lefty?
So I love those two plays, but I similarly am buying guys on the way up right now. There is margin to be had because AA is completely stacked with studs right now. If you look at MLB's top 10, all of them but Jordan Lawler are in AA right now. You've got Jackson Holiday, Jackson Churio, Paul Skenes, Dylan Crews, Ethan Salas, Junior Caminero, James Wood, Evan Carter, and Jackson Merrill, and then Jordan Lawler's at AAA. All of their estimated times of arrival, with the exception of Ethan Salas, which I think MLB actually has this really wrong, is all of their estimated times of arrival are 2024. That is within our 6 to 12 month window. These players are going to hit the market. Now, guys, just so don't think that I am missing this. Paul Skenes, Dylan Crews, and Ethan Salas do not have cards yet, and they will be coming out later this year. But What I'm saying is these players. So what I did is I went on Market Movers and I created a filter for the top 10 players that I think are investable for card value. And I think all of them but one are in AA right now, which is awesome that they're getting AA experience at the end of the year. I would hope that none of these guys get called up. If any of them do have the chance of getting called up, it might be maybe Churio. And then, I think all of them are pretty safe. Maybe Evan Carter. We talked about him last week, but there's just some absolute studs down there. And Spencer Jones got promoted to AA as well this year. I'm still buying, or not this year, last week. I'm still buying Spencer Jones as well and continue to get in on these guys.
I love that. And I've got a lot to say about those guys here in a second. But before we do, I'm going to say I am buying Andy Kaysen because look at this. This is why he's bringing the quest into the chat. Look at this. Chris Enberg in the house. What's up? Good to see you. Joey Collects is in the house. These are all Quest boys in the chat, right, Andy?
Yeah. These are some good guys, members of our Patreon and our Discord. Chat with Joey and Chris all the time. And appreciate it, guys.
Bringing in the audience from the Quest. Love it. Thanks for joining us on the Sports Card Strategy Show, everybody. All right. Here's who I'm buying. Can
I give one more shout out, by the way?
Oh, absolutely.
So there was so Global here brings up a great point. I don't know why
that's fine. I hit Ryan Childress. That was my fault because Ryan Childress is a Quest guy.
So
go back to Global.
So Global brings up FIBA World Cup plays. I think Bahamas made an interesting play this past week. They won their previous play-in tournament, where now they will be eligible for the Olympics. That team is legit. I mean, think about having Ayton, Buddy Hield, and the guy from the Houston Rockets that shoots a ton. But their team is legit. They've got basketball players on their team that are NBA studs, and I think the Bahamas are a team that are a sneaky watch in the FIBA World Cup.
I'm not sure who you're talking about on the Houston Rockets, but maybe Connor can help us out with that. Is it Kevin Porter Jr.? He shoots a ton.
No.
I'm not sure. Connor, do you want to come in here? You know who it is?
I am not sure exactly who is referencing.
Yeah, all right.
Why don't you look it up and we'll bring you back here in a second. All right. Okay, so I am buying, of course, Andy Kaysen, like I said, but there's another football guy that I'm buying. Actually, two more football guys that I'm buying. I'm gonna get a little cute with my buys. I typically don't do this. I've been on this train of just staying like true to the Jackson Cheerios of the world that I believe are gonna just blossom upon call up in terms of their pricing, not necessarily in terms of what they do on the field, but their pricing is going to crescendo and you're going to be able to crystallize. I'm going to get a little cute today. Arch Manning. I talked about this, I believe, on the Sports Card Strategy Show and Tell last week, but Arch Manning now has his first, I would say, quote unquote, investable cards. Lefty and I each went to PaniniAmerica.net last week and scooped up 10 of his base prisms because it's all that was left. But PaniniAmerica.net, I believe it's still available. You can go get Arch Manning licensed Texas cards in the throwback prism design. So I went ahead and bought those. I would recommend that if you haven't already, go ahead and do that. If you want help finding that, just go to nooffseason.com. It's right there at the top of the page. Janelle Shue in the house bought her Arch cards the other day. Great work, Janelle. I think those are going to be, they might not have super high ceilings, but I believe if you get them graded at PSA, you can wait for them to come back. Arch should have plenty of moments over the next couple of years as he leads up to his NFL draft, hopefully. He might have some moments at Texas prior to that. But before he even has pro cards, there's going to be a long runway of Arch Manning, these prism cards. If you were lucky enough to be able to get one of the parallels or the autos, good on you, because I think those have super high ceilings. We saw it happen with a lot of CJ Stroud autos of the tops now Bowman next variety. Okay, so I think Arch is a good buy right now if you can get him. Maybe he'll have SI for kids cards, but now I think his SI for kids cards probably won't be as valuable as they would have been had he not had these prisms, but I like the prisms. Okay, another cute play in my opinion would be couple of guys that Aram at Just Baseball and Lefty have talked quite a bit about. Lefty just mentioned both of their names, Paul Skenes and Dylan Crews. They each have Panini Stars and Stripes autos, and they each have kabooms for the U.S. national team. So they're not kabooms that are unlicensed kabooms, and they're not unlicensed Stars and Stripes. They're licensed, but they're licensed for the USA team that they played on. To me, this makes a difference. This is a specificity of sports card flipping that you need to pay attention to. We don't like unlicensed cards. We don't love licensed cards for the national teams, but because they're licensed and because they're these guys and these guys don't have any other cards out, you can go get Paul Skenes, Dylan Crews, Panini Stars and Stripes autos that are licensed. You can go get kabooms that are licensed. Skenes won't have a longer runway as Crews because we believe Crews will carry on in the tradition of Bowman not coming out with the second overall pick until the 2024 Bowman baseball release. We believe Skenes, of course, will have cards in the 2023 draft as the number 1 overall pick. I like the play, actually, of going out and getting these guys, either their autos from Stars and Stripes that are serial numbered or their kabooms. And I like the play of a quick flip on these guys with the hype of them already being in AA. I like Crews more than Skenes because he's going to have the longer runway because they're likely going to hold back the card of the second overall pick. But I want to caution you guys of something with this. And I'm going to bring up another player here in a second that's going to fit the exact same variety. Don't buy the buy it now or the best offers of these cards. Only participate in the auctions. Here's why. You're going to completely eliminate your profit margin because you've got guys out there that are just as smart, if not smarter. Sorry, guys, but Lefty, Chad, and Andy, very smart. 3 of the smartest guys I know. But there are people out there listening to this show that are potentially even smarter than these 3. And the reason why is because they're going out there right now and they're listing these cards at an extremely high buy it now or best offer price. And they might accept a best offer that's half of the buy it now price that still might outsell an auction by like 3 or 4x. So only participate in the auctions of these cards. And then here's another play that I just made that is in the exact same category. There's a player that I'm borderline obsessed with who's a college football player. This never happens. But this fits my storyline narrative. This fits everything about me. His name is Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously the son of Marvin Harrison, who is a phenomenal wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. Marvin Harrison Jr. is 2024 NFL draft eligible. He's a 6'4" version of his father. His father was only like 5'10" max. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a 6'4" version of his father. He's basically like a Randy Moss, Marvin Harrison all in one. He plays for the Ohio State Buckeyes. He doesn't really have cards other than, get ready for it, Super Glow. He has Super Glow cards due to the NIL situation. And I was able to win in an auction over the weekend a Marvin Harrison Jr. Super Glow auto. So I hopefully will be the owner. The guy hasn't shipped it yet. I don't know what's up with that. But Marvin Harrison Jr. Super Glow auto, I won it in an auction. It was about $165. To me, I'm not as high as him on the whole Caleb Williams play, but I believe he fits that ilk of being able to hold his Super Glow auto, wait for some crazy Marvin Harrison Jr. moments either during this college football season or leading up to the 2024 NFL draft, which I believe he's eligible for. So that was an interesting one, Marvin Harrison Jr. And then lastly, guys, I do have to say that on the complete opposite side of that, the safer play that I really, really like is I stumbled upon some Anthony Edwards rookie kabooms. I love Anthony Edwards. I still do. I always have. I still think he's a great buy. And with basketball season approaching, I believe that his kabooms, even though I know there's the FIBA World Cup and his prices are going up due to the FIBA World Cup and who he is and everything like that, that's great. But a kaboom, an Anthony Edwards rookie kaboom, I think that's an investable card. I would recommend that that people, if you have the budget to go out and buy that, I would recommend you do that. So there was a lot there in my buys, a lot of different levels of buys there, things to look out for. But that's where I'm at, fellas.
Look at
Lefty,
this.
what do you think?
Look at this listing. Look at this.
Oh, I know. I
listing
saw
first
that
off.
one. I saw that one.
What the heck? If you have a 1 of 1, why would you take the blurriest picture in the world and put it on eBay? Good grief.
Now Lefty, I'm glad you brought that up because there's something to the Super Glow 1 of 1s. Be very careful because there's a dickload of 1 of 1s. So like just Super Glow guys, I'm just disclaimer, like the only reason I got it is because it's literally like his only card, and it was an auto, and it was an auction. And there were 24 bids. So there was like a sample size of actual people who were interested in that card. Connor says Eric Gordon. I thought maybe it was Eric Gordon. I didn't know he was Bahamanian, but went to the LA Clippers last year and moved to Phoenix this offseason. So that's who Lefty was thinking of. Good work,
That
Connor.
is who I was thinking of.
So Paul,
Nice.
quick hobby tip: the Prism Draft Picks 2023 Prism Draft Picks is released in just a couple days on August 30th this week. And from what I've seen, now I don't know this to be 100% certain, but I saw Quinn Ewers sign a Panini exclusive contract, and he was signing a Prism Draft Picks card that had this Rated Prospects logo on it. That was very similar to the Rated Rookie, but now it says Rated Prospect. And I'm like, oh boy, look at this. This is Panini's response to kind of competing against Bowman University with the first logo, going back to baseball. And I thought that was really interesting. So I'm interested to see, I'm pretty sure Marvin Harrison, probably Arch Manning, Caleb Williams are going to be on this checklist for this set about to be released. And some of those may have that Rated Prospect logo on it, which I think is exciting.
Those are going to be good, man. That's a great call. I think especially the parallels of those, like I think that anything serial numbered for those are going to be great. And I agree. I mean, they're going to be competition potentially to the Bowman U Chrome, those autos that we've been talking about. Definitely competition to the Super Glow and the Super Glow 1 of 1. So yeah, good call, Andy. Definitely we need to keep our eye out for that and see what happens with those prices and be ready to sell. I mean, look, I've said I'm going to hold Caleb Williams until the NFL draft. Now, I could get punched in the face with another release. We could see other cards, and you need to be ready to sell potentially when there's competition for the cards. So stay tuned for that. We're doing sell alerts. Text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727. Andy made me think of the sell alert. You got to be ready to sell when these new cards come out. That's text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727. And definitely want to give some props here to AG Cards. AG Cards is a loyal commenter on the live chat, and they were the person that maybe beat Connor to Eric Gordon. Not sure, but thanks for the tip on Eric Gordon there. But yeah, Andy, good call. So while we got you up here, brother, who are you selling?
So right off the bat, I would say I'm selling Dalvin Cook. Like Chad mentioned earlier, I'm selling Christian McCaffrey if I've got exposure to him. I think it'll be very situational in San Francisco. And I don't, it's very hard to get back to the Super Bowl. So I think his values going up are contingent upon having like a big highlight reel in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. So I don't think he's going to finish like a RB1 overall this year. And I would also sell Aaron Rodgers right now. I know he's got a lot of hype coming into the season. If you look at their first 4 games, they're opening up their season Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills, and they have incredible matchups every week after that. They have the hardest schedule through the first 4 weeks, and I think they're going to dip into midseason, and I do think he makes a playoff push with the Jets, but I think his cards are going to dip out of the gate, and potentially, and you'll be able to buy back in like October, November in the midseason dip, only to have them appreciate into the playoffs. So I know it's a bold take, but you got to make stands, man.
Mark my words,
right.
Andy. If the card dips into week 4, I'm buying an Aaron Rodgers card.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would do that. He absolutely blows chunks. And I'm with Andy on selling him.
Lordy.
Not a Rodgers fan.
What? No,
I am so sick of Aaron effing Rodgers. He's all Max and I were watching ESPN and NFL Network over the weekend. It's all they freaking talk about. Andy, how many other NFL players are there? Like 3,000? Talk about somebody else.
When you're the best there is, you get a lot of hype.
Oh, come
on, Chad.
Come
Let's
on.
go.
He hasn't done anything. Here I go. I'm laying on the couch. I'm like, Max, he sucked for like the last 5 years. And Max looks at me and goes, Dad, he's won like 2 out of the last 3 MVP awards. I'm like, damn it.
Hey, Connor, can we somehow, Connor, like superimpose a Rodgers jersey on Paul here?
I am the number one AR hater, Greeny Green. I am. I mean, I'll own that.
And I'm the number one Kenny Pickett hater.
Do I hate Aaron
Small
Rodgers
hands,
more than Brian Steeler 1-4 hates Onyx? That's what I want to know.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Lefty, who are you selling?
I am selling Jalen Hurts because of all the reason that Chad just mentioned earlier. I got some autos that I have plenty of money on, plenty of margin, and I am putting it up for sale week 1.
All right. Chad, who are you selling?
I am going to recommend not a player, but a card. The Ja Morant Young Dolph Blindside Tui Parents card. This card this is the perfect example of when Paul talks about you could make money just sticking with one player or one card. Mm-hmm. Since this card came out in 2019, it's had 4 spikes. I mean, if you go back and you look at market movers since the beginning of time, this card's had 4 spikes that are just like off the page spikes. And with all this news about the blind side, it just spiked for a 4th time. It's ridiculous, but the raw is up 195% in the last 30 days, and the PSA 10s are up 191% in the last 30 days. If you own this card, do yourself a favor, sell it now, buy it back in 60 or 90 days at 200% less. It happens every time this card spikes. I don't know how many more famous people might be in the background for another spike down the road. The card is going to crash. Sell it now.
Connor, did you ever think you'd hear Chad say Young Dolph on the show?
Never in my life. That one threw me for a loop.
Yep. That is an actual card. And this is a great call by Chad, actually. Sell this card. And it's Chronicles too, right, Chad? It's like not, I mean, when do Chronicles cards spike like this? Never.
No, I mean, I've bought this card and sold this card probably 10 times in 4 years. And I just keep buying it because I think it's a cool card for my PC. But every time it spikes like this, I go to the safe, I get them out. I've sold all 4 of the ones that I had this week, and I'll buy them back in December at pennies on the dollar.
All right. My sells are pretty simple, guys. I say Trey Lance for all the reasons that Andy mentioned on the beginning of the show. You know, the trade to Dallas, what it does is it gets him in the news. And even though he's still a backup or maybe even a 3rd stringer, it gets him in the news. It gets him to Andy. Andy's made this point before on this show and on when we did the football card strategy shows together. Andy makes the point that like the Cowboys have like the biggest fan base in the world in terms of NFL teams. So now you're in a situation where Andy, do you agree that even though Trey Lance, you know, it's an L for a lot of people that bought him, but do you agree that with the trade, with the increased amount of eyeballs on eBay searches for him and to the Cowboys, it actually, even though he's in backup purgatory, to your point earlier in the show, do you agree that like he probably couldn't have been traded to a better team in terms of like a fan base who might be interested in trying to search on eBay for his cards right now? What do you think about that?
No, you're right. It's either the Cowboys or the Patriots. That would have been the two best landing spots. And yeah, there has been a little bit of an increase. So you literally went from, the basement to the door at the top of the basement stairs, So that's where I'm trying to get out at. So there has been a little spike that I think you could take advantage of there.
Got to take advantage of even a little spike, especially with a guy like that. And I wanted to ask you, so we sent out a sell alert for Trey Lance. And again, to get those sell alerts, text 1-833, text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727. But Brock Purdy, I mean, I think what this does is it puts even more of a potential buyer's market into Brock Purdy, because when you move Trey Lance out of that situation, you essentially remove any doubt from Kyle Shanahan's mind about Brock Purdy, which then to me would increase the amount of buyers interested in investing in Brock Purdy. And so to me, Brock Purdy is a huge sell right now, because I don't believe in Brock Purdy at all. I mean, I just really don't. I mean, I think he's Aaron Rodgers Jr. to me. So Andy, what do you think about Brock Purdy as a sell right now?
Well, yeah, when you compare his values, I mean, the least expensive rookie ticket auto for him on the market is about $1,000. His Prism Silvers, his Optic Holos are in that $75 to $100 range, and that's raw. And you compare that to Kenny Pickett, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder from the same draft class. Kenny Pickett, that same rookie auto is going to go for around $600. So, and he's been a preseason legend almost at this point. And then you look at Howell, who's done nothing to hurt his stock. If anything, his stock has gone up, and those are still half the price as well. And I get that Brock Purdy has a lower overall supply because he was Mr. Irrelevant. But with the release schedule being so delayed, like so reactive, Brock Purdy's in all the major sets, the Prism, Optic, Select, a Contender. So he's in all the major sets. Premium sets, and I think that leads to a pretty significant supply for Brock Purdy, and I do agree he is a sell at his current values.
Man, that's a great point about the additional supply coming out. I mean, we try to hit on that. Lefty and I try to hit on that quite a bit on this show, but it really is easy to overlook the fact that you really do need to pay attention to what else is coming out on the release calendar for a particular guy. So I'm glad you added that in there. Okay, one more question I wanted to ask you, Andy, because I had Sam Howell listed as one of my sells, and I think it just typically comes from, like, you and Carter talk about listing football cards a lot in August. We talk about listing football cards a lot in August, but then you hear us get more detailed on that, and we go deeper, and then you hear us buying certain football cards in August. You hear us holding certain football cards in August. So we got to be careful with blanket statements. But to me, Sam Howell was one where, again, all of us can't really have unless you're Chad Guell, you can't really have all of the cards in the world. So, like, I look at a guy like Sam Howell, and I think sell right now because there is so much hype around him and how well he's played in the preseason. You mentioned kind of him as a potential buy. Could you see the Sam Howell sell, or are you just saying, like, look, if you got Sam Howell now, you need to hold him?
I think you need to hold him because the upside could be quite big. They have that home game against the Cardinals in week 1, but then they go to the Broncos in week 2. And then in week 3, they host the Bills. So it's a much more difficult second and third week. If they beat the Broncos in Denver and they continue to play well, that's another massive market team. If they beat the Bills in week 3, I mean, with Sam Howell's quarterback, his cards could potentially double in value. I mean, 3-0 kind of start, that would lead to a front runner for MVP consideration, breakout player, because this really is his rookie year when you think about it. So it's, I mean, I think the FOMO could get quite crazy. And then people are going to start talking about the new ownership of the Commanders and the new offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy, who come over from Kansas City. So I think there could be quite a bit of hype continue to build for Sam Howell if he wins some games out of the gate here.
Andy Kaysen planting the flag on Sam Howell. I love it. Lefty, what do you think? Before we get to audience Q&A, what do you think of Andy's flag plant here?
Man, I think the Commanders do have the potential to have somebody on their team pop off. And he looked nice at the end of last year. Not the guy that I would be risking on right now, but you guys obviously know that that's not my skill set. But can I ask one personal question before we get to the Bisons or the audience sells?
Go for it.
You guys know I bought a card at the National that I thought I was going to hold forever. Lionel Messi. I bought this 2004 Messi card for around $900. One of that same card sold for almost $1,200 last week, and he has the potential to win the Lamar Hunt Open Cup as well, which means he could win the Open Cup and the League Cup. Do I sell this card if it goes to around $1,400-$1,500?
Chad?
I don't, because if I'm you, I have that card for my personal collection. It's a long-term hold that when he announces that he's retiring, whether that's 2, 3, 4 years from now, and that he probably bought the MLS circuit, the entire thing, I think that card could be a $2,500 to $3,000 card. If you wanted to crystallize the profits and hope that it dipped again, you could, but you're going to kick yourself if you sell it for a $400 profit and he announces he retires next year because he's won everything he can win and that card doubles. That's a PC long-term hold card for me.
Well, I don't PC anything, and I like money, so I'm selling it, Lefty. But sorry to make it hard on you there. But Lamar Hunt, it's a football name, so now it's a soccer name as well. That's interesting. Very cool. Shout out to Lamar Hunt. I think he's resting in peace right now, if I'm not mistaken. All right, Connor, I'm going to take the first one here, and then I'm going to let you run the rest of the audience Q&A. So, Hobby News Daily, this is our guy Ziggy No. What's up, Ziggy? Happy football season. Love fall. Bring it on. He says, I'd buy Trey Lance in the future on a dip. Cowboys fans are fish. Not a bad idea, actually. I mean, that's actually I could see. I mean, look, we've seen backup quarterbacks have huge moments. Mike White last year. There was a guy in Dallas last year. Why is his name escaping me right now? Andy can think of it. Yeah, Cooper Rush, right? Is that it? Yeah, Cooper Rush. Okay, cool. All right, Connor, what else we got?
You didn't expect me to come through with that name. That's all I'm saying.
No, I didn't. Good job, Lefty. Thank you. You're redeeming yourself.
So, Paul, I think there's the whole thought, there gets a point where a card is so rare and it's at such a good price point, you just don't say no pretty much regardless of the player. And I guess that's how I would view Trey Lance. Like if a gold prism pops up and I can snag it for like $50 or $70 or even $100, you know what I'm saying? Like that would be an incredible buy low on just an insanely rare card that you could take to shows. It could be liquid in a lot of different marketplaces. And yeah, the Cowboys fan base is massive.
Yep. Gold prism. Yeah, that would be something. I started looking at I started just doing searches for fun over the weekend on kabooms and gold prisms. I just wanted to see the cheapest ones available. Also Nike laundry tags, Nike swoosh patches, things like that out of higher end releases. I just want to see what are the cheapest ones you could possibly get. So I don't hate that for players in the future like Trey Lance. So Connor Barnett, who are we queuing up here for the audience QA, brother?
Let's start with Mark Dazinski. Chad, I know you need to leave in just a short while, but let's have you answer his question first. He wants to know how the fellas handle listing their raw cards that they buy that they decide are not gradable. Wants to know if when you resell, if you list the defects or if you just post pictures and describe it as used.
Great question. I personally, we've talked about this before when we're doing these bulk 20 card plays. It often takes 35 or 40 cards for me to get 20 I feel that are grade worthy to send in. And then I do turn around and list those. I do not list those cards for defects. If somebody asks me, I will certainly give them my opinion. And I will be honest with them, but I just take really good photos. I try to take 12 to 20 photos of every card. And I just let them, I I write in the description, see photos for description, and let it go. If there's a major scratch or something, but most of the time I'm not. It's usually a little bit off centered, or there's we've talked about this in the show and tell, one of those little pock marks or something that I know is going to prevent it from a 10. A lot of people don't. They'll take the chances on that. I try to look for as many pristine opportunities as possible. So I just list them. I turn around and list them. Long as they're not graded and I'm not cracking them out, I buy raw, sell raw.
Lefty's trying to decide if he should Photoshop them like Borusky.
Just put them in a one-touch like Andy was talking about and sell them. Doesn't matter if they have blemishes. People think they're a premium card.
One touch might be one thing. One of my biggest pet peeves is these morons that go on eBay and they take a picture of a card in a penny sleeve in a top loader and expect top money for their card. They'll take one picture. Like they'll take a picture of the front and they'll take a picture of the back. It's in a penny sleeve and a top loader. And the top loader has scratches in it, so you can't tell it drives me insane.
Every top loader in the world has scratches on it, and every penny sleeve will get like dust in it. And so, yeah, it's going to make the card look like crap. Connor, what do we got?
One touches have scratches all over them too. You know, they're easily scratched, but I do take a picture of it raw. I'm like Chad. I don't list in the description unless it's a major like it's got to be a major flaw with the card that's hard to see, you know, with the pictures. Otherwise, it's just like, hey, here's your pictures, man. Take good pictures and buy it based off that.
Yeah, if at anything, I would put won't Jim. Just as simple as that.
All right, we love the honesty here. Great question. Great question, Mark.
Stuff, fellas. Andy, Oh My Shoes at the beginning of the show wanted to know if you were still riding high on Nico Collins. Why don't you touch base real quick a little bit on your football flyers in general? Maybe some guys that you necessarily aren't pitching as a strong buy now, but you think they could have some strong early season performances.
Yeah, Nico Collins is great. He had another touchdown this past weekend with C.J. Stroud. I think he's going to easily emerge as C.J. Stroud's favorite target on the outside when he's going to target him in the red zone. So Nico Collins got that size, and he's developing as a better route runner, and he's a very interesting play. I do think C.J. Stroud is the most pro-ready out of the three primary rookie quarterbacks. So it's I think that's a good play. You can still get him very cheap.
Yeah, and I think with the good news lately that we've seen from John Mechie, Nico can kind of be that possession guy, and hopefully Mechie can come back strong and really space out the field for him.
Shout out to Ryan Painter, $20 play of the day. One of his first ones was John Mechie. Good work.
Can I jump in here, Connor, and take one before I take off?
Absolutely.
I want to answer a question. If you could bring it up for Brian Steeler 714 about the MJ86 MJ sticker. I want to answer this question because it's near and dear to my heart. I have this card, and I have bought and sold this card in the last 24 months, the same exact card 7 times. I've bought and sold this. Let that sink in. This same PSA 8 card I have bought and sold in the last 2 years 7 times. This card fluctuates. Pull up market movers. This card jumps around like crazy. It goes from 1,100 to 1,500 really quick.
86 Jordan sticker PSA 8.
Yes, in a PSA 8. Every time this card gets down to around $1,100, I buy it back, and I turn around and I put a buy it now out there, $1,500. I have bought this card at around $1,100 and sold it back for $1,500 7 times in the last 2 years. This card just jumps up and down and up and down. This card is the epitome of a quick flip. You can make a ton of money on this PSA 8. Do not sell it for $1,200. That is the bottom of the spike market. Pull up market movers and see it spikes about once every other month. You'll hit a $1,500 spike. Post it at $1,500 and kind of hold firm. You can make some money on that card.
Thanks, Chad. Borusky agrees with you. And Speaking of market movers, Chris Enberg said, this is my first show on the live stream. I've used market movers, but their database doesn't seem very extensive. Have you guys found this to be a limitation? Lefty, what do you think about this comment from Chris? What's your take?
Yeah, Chris, some of the cards that I look for just happen to be pretty nuanced, especially if they're early releases. Like, I want data as fast as I can, and Market Movers just doesn't have the capabilities because the market is so obscure when an early release comes out. And I don't think that's Market Movers per se, but I do think that they have gotten continually better over the last 2 years of us using them. They used to have almost no cards available, and now they have a pretty good extensive database. But I do commonly have parallels and things that I can't find on there. For instance, they still don't have some of the cards I'm looking for baseball prospects, and most of the guys that I'm looking for are in the top 50 prospects. So it's not always the end all be all tool, but it's definitely very helpful.
Yeah, Chris, it's the best one that I've ever used. I think to Lefty's point, none of them are going to have all the cards especially right away. I'm a little bit biased because I do write for Sports Card Investor, and I am a Market Movers affiliate because you can use the promo code no offseason and save 20% on Market Movers at marketmoversapp.com. But the reason I'm an affiliate and the reason I really enjoy working for them is because I do believe in the product, and I do kind of have an inside track as to like how they update their database and what resources they're putting in to trying to keep it up to date. They just released the sales history feature, which is phenomenal. And to Lefty's point, I have seen them improve quite a bit over the last couple of years in terms of getting cards into the database. For example, they used to really have no Contenders rookie ticket autos in there, and now they have pretty much all of the Contenders rookie ticket autos in there for baseball or for basketball and football. So Lefty's really on track of on the Bowman Chrome first prospects, like Lefty goes super deep. And I know a lot of listeners and audience members of this show really goes super deep. So I think our knowledge level, I will say, like, our knowledge level as an audience, I'm not saying as hosts, but as an audience, I think surpasses a lot of the tools that are out there. So I'm not surprised to see people like Chris come in and say that, but I do think it is a great tool. So, good stuff, Chris. Though
they don't have this 2004 Messi rookie card in here. Like that's a miss.
That's one they should have. Yeah, I agree. All right, Connor, who's next, man?
Yeah, it looks like the comment section is kind of loading up on baseball
Nice.
prospect questions. So I'm going to kick it over to Lefty. And keep in mind, for you guys listening, we are working on an updated rankings for the baseball prospects that should be rolling out sometime this week. So if we aren't able to get to your question, head over to nooffseason.com, take a look at that, and you'll get a lot more insight in terms of who we think is the best investment at this time. And who has a chance to be called up soon. But Lefty. So let's start off talking about James Wood. The dude is a physical specimen. He's a 6'6". Some people are listing him at 6'7" outfielder. How high is he in terms of your list of prospects to buy now?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's top 5 for me. Seems like a guy who you just can't miss on. He's got the frame and the ability and the hype behind him. He was in a Juan Soto trade that's going to be over mediaed and over speculized. That's a word, right? Speculized. It's going to be over speculized. And so James Wood is going to be an incredibly hot prospect when he comes up. He will be up for the Nationals in the next 12 months. You can pretty much bet on that. The Nationals have a good, solid core, and a juice like James Wood coming up is just going to be absolutely hype train. And I could see it going the way that he's not going to be Ellie, because no one is going to be Ellie at this point, but we are going to continue to see these guys buying in, and we're just going to see these hype trains go crazy as soon as they hit the major leagues, because these guys are bona fide studs, and these ball players are getting better and better and more athletic from an early age. And I think that James Wood is going to be one of the next guys. Plus, he's fairly cheap when it comes to the guys that we're looking at in that same category in that top 5. I am going to go out on a limb and say Actually, I'm going to not out on a limb. I'm going to give you a little bit of taste and say he is in my top 3 for investabilities over the next 6 to 12 months.
A little preview of the baseball card rankings. Love it. Thanks to Janelle Shue for the question. She had to duck out of the live chat early.
I've been buying these
listening
like crazy. They're going for $40 right now. I guarantee
Chrome
this
first,
is just a Chrome
PSA
first.
10?
I guarantee you this hits some sort of Jackson Churio hype at some point where the Jackson Churios are going for like between 70 and 100. I guarantee you I will double my money on this card specifically in the next 6 to 12 months.
Love it.
Yeah, good stuff, Lefty. Scott Lawrence, I hope that answers your question a little bit. Looks like Scott's heading over to the Burbank Card Show this weekend in Anaheim. Have a good time out there. Let's stay baseball for just a second before we switch over to a little bit more football talk. Bring Andy back in. Let's see. Lefty, we've talked Xavier Isaac a little bit. Is he another guy that maybe someone like Scott Lawrence should be looking at when we're going to card shows and trying to find deals on guys? Wants to know when we plan on selling. I'll tell you right now, Infinity Trader, it's going to be the call up, my friend. What you got for me, Lefty?
It is going to be the call up for Xavier Isaac, another guy that I am buying a ton of or trying to get a ton of right now. He's a guy that's people are slowly getting into him. He was a redemption auto that was behind Spencer Jones in this last release. And so the hype train wasn't exactly there yet, but you're seeing his cards starting to move very fast when they're posted online. Like if you see a lot that has an Xavier auto in it, you'll see somebody say Xavier auto claimed like super quickly on those lots. And so I know people are saying that he's undervalued, which I believe, but his market is growing rapidly. So yes, I would, Ryan, I would buy the base 10 James Wood if you have that, but also if you could ball out and buy some other James Woods, do that too. They will all increase in value.
Yeah, good stuff, Lefty. Andy, question for you from Thundering Sports Cards. Wants to know when will there be football boxes?
Yeah, players with NFL
Yes.
jerseys. That's a good question.
Yep.
Thanks, Thundering.
Let's see.
Andy, the question is when will football boxes with the players in their NFL jerseys come out? And I think what he's talking about is the 2023 draft class. This is a tough one.
It is a tough one. So, I had a buddy of mine who gets pretty much a new hobby box every week, whatever's newly released from Football Cards. He goes to his local card shop. His local card shop owner says they're only allowing him to pre-order out through Mosaic. So that's basically like through the end of September. After that, there's no more pre-order. Right now, everything's up in the air with the litigation between Fanatics and Panini and the NFLPA. But right now, there are pro uniform cards out, like Luminance was just released, and they actually have rookie autos in there that are pro uniforms. And their college uniform cards have a pro logo on them. And then you also have, for a handful of players, those rookie Premier Holos. You also have RPAs from Legacy that have, they're called Futures, and they're rookie patch autos that have pro uniforms on them. And you also have Panini Instant, and they're doing a lot more Panini Instant this year than they have before. And those have that little printed print-on-demand print run on the back of those. And so those always have pro uniforms on them as well. So you do have a few options. Scores mostly college uniform, but they do a pro logo on it. And so I think those are pretty much kind of like your primary targets in terms of pro uniform stuff. But pretty soon, Elite comes out at the end of this week that has Pen Pals Turn of the Century. They've got a lot of pro uniform stuff in there. They're kind of touted as the first true pro uniform set of the season. And then Mosaic, that's going to have pro uniforms. So you got a couple sets coming out pretty soon as well.
Yeah, I'm going to make a prediction on this. Andy, great answer. Thundering Sports Cards, thanks for the question. Good to see you in the live chat. My prediction is that with all of this mess with the NFLPA and Panini having the license supposedly revoked, but Panini has players that are signed that will sign autographs for them and have licensed cards. What I see potentially happening is maybe worst case scenario for Panini is that they don't have enough cards to put out a set in a box. But what they can do is they can drop the instant releases. And so I could see the Panini Instant becoming more of a thing this year so that they can release the autos of the players that they have signed. And keep in mind this too. I think this is something that people don't think about. They've already had a lot of players sign stickers. So even if they're getting deals revoked from them, deals with players, licensed deals, things like that, they already have cards ready for production and stickers ready for production. So I think we could see a lot more of these Panini Instant Pro release of the top guys. They might not have enough guys signed to have like your full optic set next year. I mean, maybe they do, but they might not. Optic's typically one of the last football releases of a rookie class, right? So maybe we get down the line and they don't have the license anymore. They don't have enough cards to put out in a set, but they keep dropping these instant releases with the stickers that have already been signed combined with the guys that they already do have. So I could be wrong, but I could see that happening. All right, Connor, sorry, man. Back to the questions.
Infinity Trader, staying on the football topic. He knows that you guys on the show have been preaching selling right before the season starts for football, kind of riding that hype cycle out. Unfortunately, they have not seen a lot of cards really pop off in terms of pricing growth, and wanted to know if we're seeing other stuff and what to do in the scenario that maybe those markers that we're predicting aren't really panning out.
I got this one, Paul.
Go for it.
So I think what you're seeing here, I'd love to know which specific players and which specific cards he's talking about. But I will say, generally speaking, the hobby is very strong on recency bias and what I call hyper relevancy. So the guys that are actually elite in the league aren't really playing in the preseason. There's very few of them playing in the preseason, and they're not putting up highlights. The guys that are putting up highlights are the guys that are either backups, rookies. They're trying to grow their role. They're trying to fight for a roster spot. That's where you're seeing most of your highlights from. There's a few guys that are starters and that are playing, like you've seen Kenny Pickett, Jordan Love, Sam Howell. You've seen these guys debut in the preseason, and you clearly seen price increases because of it. Brock Purdy's another one. But if you're looking at like your Josh Allen, your Patrick Mahomes, your Lamar Jackson, your Jalen Hurts, your Justin Herbert hasn't played at all. You know, Joe Burrow, all these guys are not playing in the preseason. They're not generating highlights. And so there has been a dip on those guys because of that.
Absolutely nailed it. 100%. And great question, Infinity Trader, because that's where the blanket statement can get you in trouble, but Andy just totally nailed it. And again, don't forget to text sports cards to 1-833-992-5727, because basically Connor's working his butt off, writing stuff up as soon as it happens so that we can get it out to you guys on the text alerts to sell. So we're going to get Andy plugged into some of that info too, and see, we'll try to get Andy texting me who he thinks should be sold right away. And then we'll get those text alerts out to you guys. So great stuff, Andy. And Connor, I want to have you queue up the last audience question here, but then before we sign off on the show, I want Andy to clear up a football related question between Lefty and I, but go ahead and cue this one up from Shane Graham, man.
Sure. Yeah. Shane asked Lefty specifically his thoughts on Jefferson Cuero. I believe he's a catcher in the Brewers organization. Wants to know what his timeline looks like for being called up. And if now is a good time to buy while prices are down.
Yeah, I like Jefferson Cuero. I think that he has a good ability to be a major leaguer. He's not one of my guys that's in my top 25 probably, but he's a guy that you could make good margin on based on when he pops up. I don't think he'll end up getting up this year. He's actually not hitting the cover off the ball at the AA level. I think they'll rehab him going to AA next year. He's hitting a WRC plus of 108, which basically means he's league average at the AA level. He's 20 years old there, so he could afford to spend another season down in AA. He is rocking a nice K percentage, and his average is okay too. But his 14 pumps per 327 plate appearances looks nice, but he has more to deliver there. But you always love a catcher who can consistently hit the baseball, and he's coming in with a 267. That's a high average for a catcher, which is above. He's an above average player at the position currently. But the Brewers could afford to use him later next year, but I don't think he comes up this year.
Great stuff, Kendall. So one question for you that I have that came in from Adam Rotler, who's a premium member at nooffseason.com. Don't forget to get a premium 30-day free trial at nooffseason.com if you're not already a member. But we're going to answer this more in depth on the Overflow show on Friday. But Adam was asking me, because I've said multiple times on this show that I think Jackson Holiday's prices will double upon call up, which is a blanket statement. And we definitely have to dig into that data even more to talk about like which cards will do what and all that stuff. But Adam kind of challenged me and said on the Overflow show question submission at nooffseason.com/ask, he said, Paul, do you really think that Jackson Holiday's Bowman Chrome first base PSA 10 is going to double? Because it's already at like 130-ish. And he's asking me if I really think it's going to get up around $300. Lefty, what do you think? I think Lefty might be looking up some data right now, but I think that like I said, I'm going to dig into that data even more, but I do believe that it is very possible because I think Ellie De La Cruz's did. I'd have to fact check myself on that. And Lefty, you just talked about a James Wood situation where his is $40. But I mean, Jackson Holiday's is, I think it's going for around 125, 135. Can it get up to the 270 mark upon call up, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think Jackson Holiday will be one of the most hyped prospects in our next cycle. He is my number one coming into the investabilities over the next 12 months. He does have quite a big hype cycle, but I think he will be the number one guy that the hobby gravitates towards over the next 12 months. So yes, I do believe that he will seek the prowess that you guys have for him.
Nice. I agree. More on that to come on the Overflow show. Connor, we're getting absolutely slaughtered here by the live chat with more questions. I mean, I love it. So let's try to take some of these rapid fire. So Lefty, who is your favorite? Brian Steeler 714 wants to know, Quero or Edgar?
Who's my favorite Quero? I would say Edgar.
All right. Infinity Trader, do you guys feel with the Panini NFLPA news, there could be even bigger hype on Mosaic or other NFL products that are shipping out this year? Andy.
Yeah, I've seen some like panic buying. I think some people are absolutely doomsday prepping for the end of the world for Panini. So yeah, I could see it.
Chris Enberg says Andy and Patreon is the best database so far. Shout out to Chad Dyer of the Discord, who is a card beast. That's patreon.com/footballcards. Check out Andy Borusky. We're going to get you in here. He says, Kendall, do we buy Holiday, Wood, etc. now or wait till December? Will prices drop?
I think you can buy them now. It's kind of one of those things that Chad was talking about earlier, where it is an inflated price, but I still think that there is going to be way more margin in the future. I would buy, if you're going to buy anybody right now, Wood has a particularly low price based upon where the others are. I would buy Wood and Carter currently, and then but Holiday is going to always have a premium price. So you might as well get into it. It's kind of like, buying a house, like, sure, you can wait for the market to crash or whatever, or the other side of the argument is then it never crashes and you're going to have to pay $3,000 or $300,000 for a $200,000 house next month, so it's just like, that's kind of the Jackson Holiday effect. You could just keep going up.
We're going to have to add like a wrap-up show, because we're getting so many audience questions at the end, and we hate to not take them because we are here for you, the audience. So basically what's going to have to happen is in the future, Connor Barnett is going to host like a wrap-up show where Lefty and I get to go relieve ourselves and then come back, and Connor just takes questions for the rest of the day. And Lefty and I just check back in. But anyway, Shane Graham, one more quick question. Can it make sense to buy paper color firsts, Lefty?
Yes.
All right. My question is, and this is for Andy. Lefty thinks that for some reason Kenny Pickett is my guy. And so I just went ahead and said, all right, you know what? Kenny Pickett is going to be my guy, because Lefty just would not let it go. I don't even remember saying that Kenny Pickett was my guy, but now he is. Andy, with Kenny Pickett being my guy, am I looking at an L or a W?
It could be a W. I mean, they host the 49ers at home week 1. And now I look at Kenny Pickett as having like a $600 rookie ticket auto, but he's still at a 30 to 40% discount compared to Brock Purdy. I can see the upside there, especially if you compare him to other draft classes around him. They host the 49ers week 1. If he can continue to dice up the 49ers defense like he's diced up these preseason defenses, I mean, we're looking at an appreciation in his prices. I mean, he's a hometown hero there. He's a second-year player. This is like his true first like test, a full season where it's him locked in. I like the confidence that he has. He has a very like calming confidence. He seems like a leader. I'm interested to see what they could do.
I love you, Andy. Andy, do you have anything else to add for this episode? Thank you so much. Andy Kaysen of FootballCardQuest. You got to check him out, everybody. If you don't already know him and love him, you definitely will even more after you check him out. So do you have anything else to add for today, Andy?
Nah, man, we covered a variety of topics. But yeah, I think just remember that hyper relevancy drives a lot of the purchases that you see. So typically when I'm buying, I try and look where there is no hype, where there is no hyper relevancy. So like Jalen Hurts, for a prime example, you know, if you want to pay a premium for a guy that's could potentially finish MVP this year and be back in the Super Bowl at a discount compared to the peers that have done it, then he would be my guy because his prices are still half of what, you know, Burrow and Herbert's are. When you look at like their rookie autos, more the higher end stuff, and him and Herbert are a little bit closer on some of the more base stuff now. But yeah, if I was paying a premium, that's where I'd go.
I mean, that's weird because that was Lefty's sell. But anyway, Lefty, what do you have to add for today's episode?
I would say that it was my sell because I have so much margin in it.
Ah, okay.
Not because I think it's the peak of its market.
Okay,
but
good clarification.
My wrap up is I got the chance to see Messi in person last week, and he did beat my FC Cincinnati team. But I got a chance to watch the greatest of all time play soccer with my own 2 eyes, and very fortunate and blessed.
That's awesome. We're fortunate and blessed to have all of you watching and listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show. Connor Barnett, great job today on the audience Q&A. Look, man, we had more and more coming in that we didn't get to, but I want to encourage everybody out there to go to nooffseason.com/ask, and we will answer your question on the Overflow Show, or just DM us on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy. Or if you want to go to youtube.com/Paul Hickey and drop a actual comment below, we will respond. So great job, Connor. Sonia, we heard you on the intro. We're going to hear you right now on the outro. Everybody, thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Sports Card Strategy Show, brought to you by nooffseason.com. Don't forget to get your sell alerts by texting Sports Cards to 1-833-992-5727. Follow us on Instagram at Sports Card Strategy. And if you feel like the show is valuable to your sports card investment strategy, we would love a review. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.